This is a quick starter's guide for the DJI Mini 2. I'll take you through the drone, I'll take you through the controller, and I'll walk you through the DJI Fly App. And I'll point out a couple of the features on the Fly App so you can get started on your first flight. Now this is the drone with its strap wrapped around it to keep it secure. You pop this off. Now to fold them out, the blades out, you start with the back, fold that out that way, fold this one out that way, and then underneath you want to fold these out just like that. And you've got the cover for the lens. You want to pop that off from the bottom just like that. Now we'll go through the drone. In the front here you've got the 4K camera that's on the 3-axis gimbal, and just above that you've got an LED that you can set up to be different colors, and it can flash in different ways. Then you've got your 2 front blades and you've got the 2 back blades. Now underneath you've got your 2 sensors. This is to detect how far it is off the ground. These are the only sensors that you have on the DJI Mini 2. Then you've got the power button. This is also used to tell how much batteries and how much charge is in the battery. So if you press it once, just like the controller, it shows you how much power is in the battery. So as you can see here, it's not fully charged, but it's almost about 80%. Now to turn it on, it's the same thing as the controller. You press it once and then twice and hold it down till all the LEDs light up, and then you know it's on. It's on. Now on the back you've got another LED that lights up. You've got the USB-C, and you've got your micro SD card just in there. Now we'll flip this over and turn it off. To turn it off, press it once, twice, hold it down until all the LEDs go out, and then it's off. To remove the battery, you flip up the back. There's a little push in here, so you squeeze it with your thumb and your finger, and then you slide it out. And that's your battery. That's what the battery looks like. And again, to slide it back in, make sure these top connectors go into the top, and you slide it straight in just like that, and then make sure the lid's shut. Now to fold it up, you just do the reverse. You fold these underneath, and then these go in the back just like that. Then you put the lens cover on. Just like that. That snaps in. Now to put the blade protectors, what you do is you start underneath, put that right there. There's a little lip just behind the camera, and this bit here at the front goes into that lip. Now it's a little bit footry, but you get there in the end. So make sure the blades are tucked in like that. You flip it over, make sure the blades are folded in just like that, so that this covers the top of the blades, and then you snap it in. Now what I've done is I've got this case that I bought on the internet, and I'll put a link below if you want to get one, and it's designed specifically for the DJI Mini, and as you see, it fits in perfect. And it keeps it nice and secure. On the front, starting from the right, you've got the power on button. Now what this does is if you press it once, it shows you how much battery is in the controller, and you can see this is fully charged. To turn it on, you press it once and twice and hold it down until all the lights light up. Now it's on. Just to the left of that, you've got the different modes. You've got sports mode, normal mode, and cinema mode. I tend to keep it into cinema mode because it slows everything down and it's not as jerky, so the videos come out much better. Now to the left of that, you've got the return to home button or the pause. So if you press it once when it's flying, it'll stop whatever it's doing and hover. If you hold it down, it'll then return to home, to where the last location where it took off, and it took a GPS coordinate lock. Up here in the top right, you've got the switch between the camera. This is up here between the switch and the camera and the video. If you press it once, it goes to camera. Press it twice, it goes back to the video. Then you've got a function button here in the far left hand corner that you can change to whatever you need. Now on the bottom, you've got the controller knobs. These are stored away. You pull these out and you screw them on here. Just like that. That gives you control over the drone. Now underneath, you've got the USB-C for charging. Okay, on the top, this right here is for, it can either be set up as the zoom, the digital zoom, or it could be set up as the camera going up and down. And then you've got your button for either recording the video or to take a picture. Now underneath here is where you put your phone. Now depending on what phone you have, you'll have different cables that you connect in here. I've got an iPhone, so I've got a lightning cable connector, and this is stored away. It's really good because it means your cable for your phone's always on the controller. So what you do is you get your phone, and these are on springs, and you push it up, just like that, and then you plug it in the bottom, just there, and that's your controller. This is the controller with the phone attached. To give you an idea of how it looks and how it's connected. Looks just like that. And again, to put it away, you just wrap this around. There's a little slot for the cable. You push it in there, and you tidy up the cable in there, and then push it down. Now on the back, there's just a heat vent. It keeps it cool when it's running. So that's the controller. And to turn it off, again, you press it once, twice, and hold it down. This is the DJI Fly App. This would be the main screen you come to when you open up the app. The app can be installed on an Apple phone or an Android phone. One of the things you want to point out here is in the top left. If you click on that, it brings up your current location. And what DJI have done is they've superimposed any areas that you're not allowed to fly in. For instance, an airport. As you can see here in this orange circle, there's an airport close to where I am. So anywhere in that orange circle you want to avoid flying the drone. And as far as I'm aware, anything in the red bit, the drone actually will not fly. In the bottom left hand side of the screen is the album. This is where the DJI Fly App stores your photographs and video that you've taken in previous flights. You can scroll through them, as you can see here. You can open them up. I'll open up one of this one here of the beach that I took in the past, and you can play it, you can rewind it, you can delete it. So it's a good place to go back and see what you've taken in the past. In the bottom right hand corner of the screen is a blue button called Go Fly. Press on this to bring you into the main screen. Here you can see the live footage from the video camera. In the top left hand corner, the C mode button, you click on that and it brings a pre-flight checklist. The one thing to focus on here is the auto return to home altitude. You want to set this altitude high enough so that it can go over any trees or buildings or any obstacles when it's returning to home. Now going along the top of the screen here onto the right hand side, you come to the battery indicator. Right now you can see my battery is at 79%. The green line going around the circle shows how much battery charge you have. Now if you click on that, it gives you a little bit more information on the battery. For instance, it shows you how long the battery has left for return to home, how long you have until the drone's going to force it to land, and then how long you have until the battery is completely dead. Now the icon next to that is your signal strength. This is the connection between your controller and your drone. As you can see here, it's very strong. The next to that you have the GPS satellite signal strength, and it also shows you how many satellites it's currently connected to. You want to make sure this is really strong before you take off. In the top right hand corner you see the 3 dots. If you click on this, it brings you into the main configuration menu. Now in this video I'm not going to go into detail at what this menu does and all the different features. I'm just going to cover the tabs at the top to show you what each one's in here. For instance, now this is the safety. We've already covered some of the things in here on the previous menu. The return to home, the max altitude, the max distance. Then you've got the control information. You can set the LED light mode and colors. Then you've got the camera. The camera, there's a lot of information there to set up the camera for video and photography. Then you've got the transmission. This is the connection between the controller and the drone. And the last one is about, and that's just information on the drone itself. For instance, you can find out what firmware both the controller and the drone is set up to. The next icon I want to take you through is in the far left hand side of the screen. There's an H with a circle around it and an arrow pointing down. Now right now the drone's hovering, so if I click on that, the drone will land. If the drone's already on the ground, that icon changes to a circle with an arrow pointing up. If you click on that, the drone will take off. Bottom left hand side of the screen is the map. If you click that once, it brings up a small map to show you where you are. But you can also click the map again, and what it'll do is it'll change to a bigger map and then move the live video to the smaller screen. On the map, the blue triangle is your drone, or represents your drone. It shows where its current location is by using the GPS built into the drone itself. It also shows the direction in which the drone is facing. Now you have the choice of keeping this as a main screen, or you can downsize it to a smaller screen. On the right hand side of the map icon, you have some information on how high your drone currently is at and the distance that the drone is currently from where you're standing. Going along the bottom of the screen to the right, the next information you come to is the amount of storage that's in the SD card that's installed on the drone. You can see here there's 34 megabytes of storage still left on the card. Next to the storage information on the right hand side, you've got the video resolution. As you can see here, currently it's set at 1080p 60 frames a second. If you click on it, you can change the video resolution to 4K or 2.7K, or that as it stands right now at 1080p. You can also change the frames per second as well. On the right hand side, you've got the EV information. This is the exposure of the camera. You can overexpose or underexpose depending on the light conditions of the day that you're actually filming. The bottom right hand icon that says auto, if you click on that, it brings you into the pro settings for either the video if you're in the video mode, or the camera if you're in camera mode. Now in here you can change the white balance, the shutter speed, the ISO, or the resolution and the frame speed. Especially for video, I tend to keep this in the auto mode and let the drone figure out what's the best settings depending on the conditions of the day. Moving up on the right hand side of the screen, the next icon you come to is a play button. That brings you into the album that I talked about in the previous menu. Just above that you have a big red circle. In video mode, if you press that, it starts the recording. Well, as soon as you press it, you can see the timer at the bottom that shows the amount of time that's been recorded. On the left hand side of that you have the zoom. This is the digital zoom. And the last menu I want to go through is just above the record button. This is the camera modes. You have photo, video, Quickshots, and Pano. One thing I wanted to also show was in photo mode, it changes the format in the bottom right hand corner. You now have the choice of a JPEG picture, which is already edited, or a JPEG plus RAW. And I tend to stick with JPEG plus RAW because RAW photographs have more data embedded in them and they're easier to edit later on. In photo mode, you can take a single photograph, you can take an AEB photograph, which is auto exposure bracketing, and what this does takes different exposed photographs and then stitches them together later to create a HDR picture. Or you can do a time shot. With the time shot, you take different photographs at different lengths of time that can be stitched later for a time lapse. For Quickshots, you have 5 predefined flight paths that the drone will fly to give you cinematic effects for your videos. You've got droney, rocket, circle, helix, and boomerang. With droney, the camera is centered on the subject as the aircraft descends backward at an incline. In rocket, the camera focuses downward on the subject as the aircraft descends at a rapid speed. With circle, the aircraft centers the camera on the subject and then circles it at a constant altitude. With helix, the aircraft descends while flying in a spiral that expands gradually with the camera centered on the subject. With boomerang, the drone will fly around the subject in an oval path. The panoramics takes a series of single shots and then stitches them together to give you a panoramic photograph. There's plenty more to see in the DJI Fly app, but from what I've shown you here, it should be enough to get you started with your first flight. Well, that's the end of this tutorial. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these type of videos, subscribe. And until next time, I will see you later.